you notice there's a wolf that's jumping, or there's this little canine jumping out at a fowl off the cliff. Well, choices made in anger cannot be undone. The title of this video, Choices Made in Anger Cannot Be Undone. All right? Family of 11-year-old killed in his sleep said gunman's 40-year sentence isn't enough. So we're going to go ahead and do a cover story on it. This was posted today about 8:45 a.m.
Years after a sleeping child was killed by a bullet that went into the family's home, the killer who fired the fatal shot just learned his fate in court. ABC 13's Micah Hatfield is live with the sentence and how the boy's family feels about this. Micah.
Well, the family said this has been a really long time coming, but they're glad that they were finally able to sentence one of the defendants and get justice for 11-year-old Cameron Jones. They say 40 years for the defendant, Sonny Reyes, was more than they expected, but not as much as they hoped for. This all goes back to a case in June of 2019. Deputies called the fatal shooting in Channelview a case of mistaken identity. Cameron's family had just moved into the home in the 15,000 block of Brentwood Drive. Authorities believed the renters who had moved out were actually the intended targets. The suspects, later identified as Sonny Reyes and Cameron Moore, were said to have fired into the home with an assault rifle and killed the sleeping 11-year-old boy. There were several other children in the room at the time, but they were not hit. The defendant pleaded guilty without a jury trial and elected to have a judge sentence him. The prosecutor says it saved the family from having to sit through a grueling trial.
I really hope that everybody remembers Cameron Cassius Jones. He was strong, he was bright, he was smart, and he had a great future ahead of him. And it's a shame that we didn't get to see what he could have become.
The prosecutor said Reyes did not show any remorse and hasn't really since Cameron was murdered 3 years ago. The other defendant, Moore, is still going through the court process. He was not arrested until a year and a half after the child was killed.
All right. Show no remorse. I mean, you know, this was in 2019 with a mistaken identity. June 2019, deputy says a mistaken identity when Sonny Reyes was shot at the home he thought was his enemies. One of the bullet killed Cameron Jones. To the Jones family, I'm very sorry for your loss. And I hope and pray that you get the justice you deserve. Cameron family just moved into the house, 15,000 block of Brentwood Drive. Authorities said they believe the renters who moved out were the intended targets. The boy's family said this has been a really long time coming. They were finally able to sentence the two defendants. The Ray has been sentenced to 40 years. Cameron family says 40 years more than what they expected, but not as much as they hoped. Ray has pleaded guilty without a jury trial and elected to have the judge sentence him. Smart move. The jury would have probably given you the death penalty. Because I don't know what goes in the jury's mind. So, and the prosecutor said this saved the family from have to sit through a grueling trial. Yeah, that trial would have cost the taxpayers money. A second suspect, Cameron Moore, is awaiting trial. He was arrested a year and a half later after the murder. So we're going to go to that page. Okay, Second arrest.
Outside of the Jones family home, a cross now leans on their mailbox. A statue of an angel stands. This in loving memory of 11-year-old Cameron Jones, the little boy who slept soundly inside over the weekend before he was shot dead.
There were 22 shots fired.
Donna Patterson heard the gunfire from across the street. The bullets went through cars outside. They reached the inside of the bedroom where Cameron was sleeping. He died. Tonight, as investigators continue their investigation, a family grieves an inconceivable loss. A family who deputies believe was not the intended target. They only moved into this home a couple of months ago.
It's a nice yard. The kids are good. You never hear anything from them.
Deputies mentioned the prior tenants who moved out months earlier showed suspicious behaviors. Neighbors agreed.
Oh, yeah, there was always gunshots. I mean, every couple months you would hear 4 or 5 gunshots go off.
Correct. Probably up to 6 times in the last year and a half I've called.
The sheriff's office says there were 6 calls for service involving this home last year, and today we learned the previous renter was targeted in a shooting last July. Tonight, investigators want to know if the shooter was unaware that a new family moved in, a family with several innocent kids who were inside as bullets came flying in the middle of the night.
So I saw them often playing outside. It reminded me of my own childhood.
If you have any information about who fired the bullets that ended Cameron Jones' life, call Harris County Sheriff's Office.
Again, second arrest made in an 11-year-old's murder was nearly 2 years ago. This was February 21st of 2021. All right, this was posted last year. Channelview, Texas. Deputies in the case of, he was killed in his family Channelview home on June 2019. And so they're cowards to shoot into a home not knowing who was there. They shot an innocent child there, and it was uncalled for. Sad, tragic, senseless, and we are going to go after you. That's what the sheriff, Ed Gonzalez, said at the time. So, in the case of following the shooting, deputy arrested Sonny Reyes. Now, Sheriff Gonzalez said that Cameron Moore is also arrested and charged in connection. Sheriff praised the investigators for continuing to follow up on a tragic crime at all this time, after all this time. So, he left a tweet. This is a horrific, tragic case of 29 innocent 11-year-old Cameron Jones being shot and killed while he slept in his bedroom. All right, today, second person Cameron Moore has been arrested and charged in connection with the shooting. So, well, that's Reyes, and that's Moore. So, an innocent child's life been taken by a senseless murder. Just by looking at his face right here. He's going to the juvie. I don't know how old he is. When he goes into the penitentiary, their lives ain't gonna be the same. All right. What's done in anger cannot be undone. So we need to address the school shooting by following the laws that are currently on the books. And remember, if you choose to do the crime, you will do the time. Simple as that. You choose the crime, you're going to do the time. And depending on how the inmates look at you, that's up to them. I can't speak for them. All right. Thank you for watching. You have a good day. And sound off below in the comments. Thank you.